Nevada produces more gold each year per square mile than any other jurisdiction in the world. But a new gold frontier is about to be uncovered.
And this is the future of exploration. This is ground zero for gold exploration in Nevada. We're surrounded by some of the world's largest gold mines. We've got Pipeline up here, Cortez Hills over there. This district alone produces more than 1 million ounces per year. With a combined gold endowment of about 40 million ounces, that's more gold than all of the gold ever mined from the Yukon, from one camp here in Nevada. So this is exactly where we need to be.
Nevada Exploration is a publicly traded company entirely focused on gold exploration in Nevada.
From Cortez Hills, this is the road to Gold Rush. These are tens of millions of ounces. These systems are huge. The challenge we face, though, is we're not finding these big deposits like we used to.
Nevada's rich history of gold mining began in the mid-1800s. While lucrative, the initial success paled in comparison to what came about in the 1960s. A new type of gold deposit was discovered. They called it no-seum gold. Tiny microscopic flecks of gold scattered in the bedrock.
The early prospectors were totally clueless that they were walking over these very much larger deposits than what they had found previously. So this no-seum gold deposit, which is really just such small concentrations of gold you can't see it with your naked eyes, it became known as Carlin-type gold deposits. So here I am, I'm a young geologist just coming out of school at a time when this new Carlin-type gold deposit is being found in Nevada. It was one of the most rewarding and exciting experiences to be part of that kind of a process, especially because we were successful at finding gold. We had done such a good job at discovering these Carlin-type gold deposits that Nevada became one of the largest producers in the world. But there was a problem. We noticed our discovery rates were declining. They were declining relatively dramatically. By the 1990s, we had found the easy gold, where we could follow the clues on the surface. The discoveries that we were making were all in the mountain ranges. The rocks could be seen. The future of gold in Nevada is the areas that we haven't looked at between the mountain ranges, in the areas covered by sand and gravel. The problem is, how do we see those rocks that lie underneath that cover? We're at the top of Goodwin Butte, here at the south end of Grass Valley, and we can see the bedrock sticking out of the ground. These rocks were formed 300 million years ago at the bottom of the ocean. A lot has happened to them for 300 million years, but the most important thing for us in our search for gold is to realize that in these rocks, 40 million years ago, we began forming Carlin-type gold deposits. Much more recently than that, around 15 million years ago, all this rock was then broken by major crustal forces. Large blocks of the Earth's crust were shoved up to form mountain ranges, and then large blocks of the Earth's crust were dropped down to form the valleys. These valleys were covered by sand and gravel from erosional processes from the mountains. The bedrock underneath the cover is exactly the same bedrock that we see exposed in the mountains, and most importantly, contains the same kinds of gold deposits. Nevada has produced more than 200 million ounces of gold to date from the rocks that we see exposed around us. There's no reason to expect that there shouldn't be another 200 million ounces of gold waiting to be discovered beneath these valleys.
Nevada's missing 200 million ounces is the biggest prize in the entire industry. The challenge that we face, though, is how do we develop new tools to look in places where we've never looked before? So that's exactly what we've set Nevada Exploration up for. Adapting and developing new exploration tools to find new gold deposits beneath Nevada's large covered valleys.
Advancing technologies have given the explorers of today a new set of tools. They are able to detect trace concentrations of gold that were previously invisible. In the United States, Nevada Exploration is the first company to be entirely dedicated to hunting down undercover gold. And they believe the secret is in the water.
These desert valleys are just full of groundwater. What the groundwater does is it flows along the bedrock that we can't otherwise see or map, and it does it for us. Here's a 2-footer. We can now sample the groundwater and test it directly for the minerals and the trace elements and the pathfinders that we're looking for. All over the world, explorers are sampling groundwater to look for new deposits undercover. What sets our program apart is that rather than relying on existing wells, we've developed equipment that allows us to get groundwater samples wherever we want. Gold's the best pathfinder for gold. And just like the old timers with their gold pans, instead of needing to look at flakes of gold now, we can look at concentrations of dissolved gold in groundwater.
We know that there are no outcropping areas of mineralization in the exposed. So the inference is, how did the gold get into the groundwater that's represented by these large dots? We're surrounded by large gold deposits, but conventional exploration is way too expensive. We can't drill holes across these valleys hoping to get lucky. So that's exactly what groundwater sampling does for us. It gives us the information we need to make good exploration decisions when we can't see the rocks.
Based on the water table elevations, it's pretty clear that the groundwater is flowing from the south over this saddle and then out to the north.
Yep, the gold is concentrated a mile to the south and then continues from where we are another mile to the north. And it's not upstream of us, and it doesn't continue downstream.
With this technology, we're able to take a valley that's 10 times the size of Manhattan and focus it down to a brand new prospect that's only a few square miles in size. There is this perception that all the good ground in Nevada is already controlled and already taken by the majors. But here we are out in this basin on the doorstep of some of the biggest gold mines in the world. We're able to use our program to identify new targets and stake them and own them 100%.
Nevada Exploration combines their results from their extensive groundwater sampling program with conventional exploration tools like geological mapping, geophysics, and computer modeling to narrow down new drilling targets.
We're at South Grass Valley. 3 days ago, we rolled in here with this drill rig. There's obviously nothing here that would necessarily attract your attention, except that we know there's a gold in groundwater anomaly. And we think the source of it is beneath us. For the first time, we're able to map, sample, analyze the bedrock beneath us as if it was exposed at the surface to see if we've got the necessary features to host a large Carlin-type gold deposit.
An entire 10 million ounce deposit could be contained in an area that's 300 to 500 yards across. While we've reduced this incredibly large valley down to a project that's a few square miles, it's still too big to drill every 500 meters.
Fortunately, today, we've got a very good handle on the building blocks and the processes that are responsible for creating very large Carlin-type gold deposits. Lots of small flakes of brassy pyrite, and that was all previously silicified in order to enhance the texture to where it could break open just a little bit. These processes create a much larger area of influence around the deposit, basically creating a footprint, a geologic footprint that we're able to follow.
When I look at a rock, I'm already seeing what the Earth looked like 450 million years ago when the limestone formed. And I'm also seeing what it looked like 40 million years ago when the gold was coming in.
Essentially, these are the clues in a mystery that you can look at. You see them, how they form one after the other. You can do nothing but continue to follow these clues. We're now able to look at the data from our project to test for whether or not we have the ingredients to host another large Carlin-type gold deposit. And that so far, that's exactly what we're seeing.
What we'd like to do is make a discovery here and go on and do it again and again. We've got the workflow, the process, the equipment, the expertise to be able to go valley by valley across Nevada, systematically looking for new gold deposits.
I fed boots on the ground, making numerous discoveries. And I really believe we have another chance to do it again. With every new sample we collect, with every new foot of core we drill, with every analysis we put into the database, we're getting closer at making that next big gold discovery.
Nevada Exploration is leading the industry in the search for Nevada's next 200 million ounces of gold. Follow their story at www.nevadaexploration.com.